Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast, Let's Talk Sis, with Des and Sa.
Stay connected by following us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget, use hashtag Dear Sister Let's Talk to find us.
Wait, before you go, head over to our website or our Instagram and join our interactive community for a daily dose of sisterhood, where like-minded women fellowship, encourage, and create a safe space amongst one another.
See you inside, sis.
Toodles.
Bye. Hey, y'all.
Hey, hey.
We're back with another episode.
Yes, we are.
It's been too long. I feel like dropping once a week is not enough.
Oh. Slow down now. But yeah, it's like just because we have these conversations. I think what's feels so much better is that we have these conversations amongst ourselves all of the time, but inviting the community and the public into our conversations make them that much better. And it also grows the two of us, because getting those other opinions and perspectives, because I can only talk from mine and you can only talk from yours, but being able to hear everyone else's feels great.
And I think that you saying that our conversations that we have on the for the podcast is always a spillover of our own personal conversations. I think that's why it's so easy for us to just go.
Yeah, because we've been talking about this.
Yeah, we really have these type of conversations. So
yeah,
like you said, it's a pleasure to be able to invite our community into it. So what are we talking about today?
Well, let's first start with a card from Let's Talk Sis. Okay. So the first card says, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would that be?
I gotta answer it first, or you?
I'll answer it.
Okay.
I would like to be remembered for I would like to be remembered for so many things, first of all. But the first thing that came to my head is like my compassion. My compassion, my selflessness. But I also want to just inspire people and women to live for themselves and living for yourself, doing what makes you feel your, absolute best, whatever that may be in life.
I love that.
My compassion is the first thing that came to my mind, though.
Got you. What was the question? One thing you want to be remembered for, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to be remembered, like you said, for so much, right? Because legacy is really a part of that prefrontal lobe development that I was talking about before. Yes. So lately, within the last 6 months, I've been heavy on legacy. Just when it comes to preparation and wealth management and stuff like that for the future. But if I could be remembered for something, I want to be remembered for the person who was authentically them, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, and I think I talked about this previously in the beginning of the season, but talked about being boxed in. Okay. I think that I have always been one of those people who not only push the limits, but also literally just have committed to just being myself in situations that I don't fit in, if that makes sense. So, for example, I'm a chef. I've been cooking for 11 years. I'm in a male-dominated industry, right? I can come off as very assertive, very certain, and a little bit of aggression, right? People would say. But I'm also a lady, So, I mean, you can sigh if you want to, but I'm a girly, I'm a girly girl. So it's I'm that walking, living oxymoron, and I think I really love and appreciate that about myself. Yeah. So that's something I want to be able to leave behind and make an imprint within women, because it's you don't have to fit inside of this box of being, a prissy lady and your nails has to be French tips and you gotta wear a skirt and your legs have to be curled. That's okay for some people, but for me, I'm I got that aggression, I got that, but I'm still a girl. I'm still a lady, you know. So it's
that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dive into the conversation.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Today, I think we should talk about the importance of women in leadership.
Okay.
Or having, the women in leadership, and also how you should be, or how people should be very attentive to the wrong leadership. Because there is a such thing as the wrong leadership. I want to start by asking you, do you feel like women in leadership is important? Because not to cut before you begin speaking, but you mentioned how you work in a male-dominated field. America is male-dominated, period. So with that being said, how important do you think women in leadership is?
I think that it's important when I look at it from what are those people called, the feminist perspective, right? I think that is very important. It's inspirational and it's relatable to a certain extent. But I think because I've been in a male dominated industry for so long when it pertains to career, I feel like, yeah, the leadership, like having somebody go before me and show me the ropes and be a figure of like aspiration or a role model or something would have been cool, but I'm not hell bent on, like, I've done without it so much that it's kind of like I've adapted and I'm more accustomed to just not having it. And that's pertaining to career development, right? Yeah. But when I look at it from like just a wider perspective and just looking at it, the totality of life, I think it's important. It could be important, but maybe it's just not as important to me because it's not present.
Okay, that's good. That's really good. I think that one of the reasons that I think it is so important, because I do believe it's very important, I think it's important in the line drawn between the right leadership and the wrong leadership. But I think it's really important because when people think of women in charge, they think of like too bossy or, overly assertive or those type of things, whereas though those can be major assets in leadership. And I think it's important for women to be that cornerstone of both, where both avenues meet. Like you just said, you can be a lady and you can be soft and all of those things, but you can still be a boss. You can still be assertive. You can still tell these men or whoever else what to do, and you should be respected equally.
That's not a thing.
Yeah, I know that's not a thing. That's my opinion. You know how much harder that's why I think women in leadership is important, though.
How much harder I have to work. Yeah. Like even last night at work, it was like the smallest thing, like line cooks, whatever the case may be, just a little backstory. But like I had this one line cook and he's an older man, he's like 30 or whatever the case may be. He's a really good cook, he's strong. But when we're busy, you need support because you can't cook and plate 20 different dishes at the same time, right?
Invite us in the kitchen a little bit.
So I'm on Expo, which is the person who communicates with the servers, and I jump back there on the line to give him a push, and he's like, no, I'm good. Because I'm a woman, and he instantly was under the impression that I was going to slow him down, right? Nah, I'm good. So I don't care what you say because me and the line cook share a similar goal, right? Which is to make the guests happy, feed the guests that are waiting for their food. So regardless of what he says, ego-wise, I'm still going to insert myself in. After the fact, he was like, "Thank you so much. You're good. Like you was good. It. Like my presence did help you." But that first right off the bat was like I had to prove myself to him in that moment to say, "I got your back. Like I can maintain. I'm not going to make you fall behind, but."
I want to say, and this is kind of off topic just a little bit, but based on what you just said, for example, in the beginning, he didn't want the help. He didn't think he needed the help, and he automatically assumed that you would push him back. Do you think things like that come from the tradition of gender roles, just overall, like outside of the career field?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you even mentioned gender roles because I've been wanting to talk about that for a minute. Gender roles is also just like, those double standards?
Yes.
Like, it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Damn if you don't. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
What do you mean?
Like, when you hear of a double standard or when it pertaining to gender roles, how does that make you feel? Like, what's the first emotion that it evokes?
Being completely transparent. And that's what we're here to do, be real. When it's in my benefit, I'm okay with it.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
So, we're talking about gender roles as in... Even if we talk about natural household gender rules with the man putting out the trash or the man doing this or grabbing my door, things of that sort. That's also considered gender rules. I'm in full support of that.
Me too. Because they was back there. Listen, back in the day, they was fighting for them equal rights and women could work too. I don't know who was fighting. But if I was there, I would have cut they boards up and threw the Sharpies out because we don't want equal rights to them.
But the thing is, it's a gift and a curse, and it's a double-edged sword, because to say what you just said,
absolutely,
we don't want equal rights, and I would have cut their boards up. But then to also say, I want you to respect me just as much as you respect him, is kind of a joke.
No, it's not.
It is.
Because what I'm speaking on is a past tense, which has gotten us to where we are today. Okay. But I'm saying I need respect today because that doesn't exist.
Because that's where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You treating me as if we back then, but I'm doing the work as if we equals. We're counterparts,
exactly.
Sweetie.
And that's where it is.
We equally yoked.
I feel like this is kind of also piggybacking off of a conversation we had the other day when we was talking about how we're equally doing the same amount of work as these men, but they want us to still...
Hold on.
I don't want to use the word, but like kind of
submit.
Yeah, like submit to their authority or to their hand. But it's like, do you want me to clean every single day once I get off of work all day, and cook you dinner when I get off of work all day, and all of these things? But like, back in the day, if you want the same respect my great grandpa had, my great grandmom ain't work.
Okay.
So she was okay with staying home doing all of this because, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay to do those things for your man or whatever the case, but I think the issue comes in when it's expected.
I mean, not really, because that's a standard. Expectation and standards kind of coincide. So can you explain, like, elaborate?
Okay, so then that goes on another conversation. You can have your standard to say, I want my woman to cook, clean, do this, that, and the third. But why am I badgered or called a gold digger or anything else when I say I don't want to work and I want my man to take care of everything for me, financially, in life, in general? I just want to be soft and carefree and worry-free. Because these same men that has this standard that you speak of are the same exact ones that's saying...
What do you bring to the table?
What do you bring to... Exactly. What do you have to offer? Like, what? What are you talking about?
I am the table, okay? Now, do you
now have a seat and eat your plate. Like, no. So it's like, I don't know. I don't like it.
No, it's so crazy.
The men back in the day used to build homes by hand. Do you know how to use a hammer? Like, I don't...
I called my cousin right now. I said, can you help me move my apartment? Can you help me move my apartment? He talking about, I don't really be doing stuff like that. I be calling people for help.
Can we speak on our friend that we asked to help move? He brung his friend to move. He said, I don't be lifting stuff. I don't be doing stuff like that. What?
Yeah.
Ain't no way me and you checking our manicure after we done lift this box. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. You got to put your purse down too? I mean, can we really speak about it?
No, this conversation...
It's an issue.
This is a whole different conversation than what we started off. We started off women in leadership.
You're right.
We talking about societal standards.
I don't want this to come off as attacking anybody, so let's go back to...
No, this is not attack. I think that this is real, and this is a conversation that should genuinely be had. Yeah. Because... as a woman, I'm confused. Genuinely. Should I be like overly focused on career and professional development so that I can make the same amount of money as a man?
That's the crazy thing. That's where the confusion or the crossroad come in, because it's like you said, it's confusion. What am I trying to...
What's my purpose here in the world?
What is my job? Like,
am I supposed to be soft because y'all are treating me like less than, but then I gotta be tough to get the respect? So I'm like, I'm in between. I'm a little confused. Like,
now I gotta worry about you. I gotta work overtime so I can... What they be saying? I gotta make sure wherever we go, I gotta be able to equally contribute. I
gotta be able to, yeah.
Like, come on now.
And I mean, we're using financial situations as an examples, but this conversation has very little to nothing to do with finances.
That's why I started the conversation by mentioning the trash getting taken out or the doors getting held or, things of that sort. Like, why don't men put their jackets on top of the puddles no more?
Or take their shoes off and give them to you when your feet hurt.
Like, why isn't you carrying me 3 blocks? Because my heels is hurting my feet.
I feel that.
I don't understand.
Nah, but if you listening to this and you're a man, I genuinely feel like you need to put your input into this conversation. Yeah. You need to give us some feedback because I'm confused.
Yeah, my question is honestly, what do y'all want? And do you know what
do
you
you
want?
know what you want? Because I'm starting to think
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
they know
these
what they
men
want.
our age don't really. I don't think they like women. They be complaining too much. I don't think they like women.
They're in their soft eras with us. Like I'm telling you, we're literally men and women are on the same journey at this point.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to cut you off. I just seen this interview yesterday with his name is like August. What's his name? He was a
August
singer.
Alsina?
Yes, yeah. And he was saying he doesn't subscribe to like a gender or like
he said that.
Whatever the case may be. He's just open, and I think that that's what a lot of these men in our generation
that's what they need to
just come to terms with. Mm-hmm. Like you're just open and you're just receptive to receiving whatever, and that's all right. But
yeah, because the problem is they want to be or they call themselves men, but you don't want to be treated like you don't want to be treated as such.
You don't take on the responsibilities and tasks of
yeah.
But you know what?
But
I'm saying that out loud.
I'm also meaning they don't want to be treated as such because the way I'm talking about men used to be treated, these men feel like, or these boys or whatever they is considered, they want to be treated like us. They want to be catered. Like it's not okay. I don't want to get my words mixed up, but they want to live a very soft life.
I think the lack of I'm gonna have to blame the old heads, the older men. Mm-hmm. Who are setting the role models? I'm setting the standard of how a man should like carry themselves. Mm-hmm. I think that's missing, right? Yeah. And I think especially like where we're from and like we share a lot of the similar experiences because our background is the same, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that because like crime is so high, there's an age gap, right? Because there's a whole generation of like men that's like not here with us today, right? Yeah. And I think that a lot of people are left to raise themselves. So I definitely think we should have a guy on to bring this to counter it, bring this conversation back up again because I'm interested in getting to the bottom of this.
Yeah, and to add on what you said, they're left not only to raise themselves but being fully raised by their single mothers.
That's a whole nother.
So they're taking on these characteristics of their mothers. Really they don't even realize it, and I don't think it's intentional. It's just like second nature. It happens. It's what you're used to.
And that's why we're forced to have these conversations of who comes first, your mom or your wife. Child. Because like mothers essentially are really treating their sons like they're boyfriends to a certain extent. And it's like you don't want to relinquish your rights, your parental rights as a mother now that this boy has grown into a man and is starting his own family. So we need to write this down because we're going to have to revisit this. But going back to leadership. Okay. Before we go too far.
I'm about to say, because I would have so much more. Okay. Reverting back. So yeah, I think it is very important for women for some women, for example, you said you didn't need that reassurance basically, or that person there because you just so used to not having it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's how a lot of us is, but that's where I also feel like it is our place to step in and be that person for the younger generation or others. Because just because you were self-sufficient enough or confident enough or whatever the case may be doesn't mean the next young woman will be. Mm. So to have that guidance and to be that guidance, I just feel like is very detrimental in a sense, because just like how we mentioned that men don't have that guidance, they don't have that role model, they don't have that person teaching them. What about women that don't have that for themselves? What about the young ladies that don't even know how to be young ladies? They don't know how to be, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's why I feel like all around the board, career-wise, just entirely, them women to look forward to or look up to is very, very important.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I wish I would have had more role models that were women, but I honestly can't think of one person who inspired me as a child or made me want to, like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I can't think of anyone back then, but I don't know. I think a lot of, like, as we have these conversations out loud, it makes me think about a question deeper, which is, why do I feel this way towards women in leadership? Like, why do I feel like they're insignificant to a certain degree, you know? And I think that just shows or exemplifies the level of reflecting that I need to do, and also like really digging, because I'm starting to think that the relationship that I had with my mother is like influencing that to a certain extent.
Possibly, yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to revisit that and ask myself that.
I think that's a great topic. I feel like personally, I was always very, very observant, and I spent most of my childhood with my grandmother, with my great grandmother. Not, first of all, I don't want to say it like that, but a lot of my childhood I was with my great grandmother, and her being like an older woman, significantly older, I was able to take on a lot of things as far as just like the epitome. I feel like that was like the example. That's like the set, because my mom and her generation, I feel like they was just figuring it out. I mean, most of our parents do. I think every generation. Yeah, most of our parents are just figuring it out. So I feel like personally, me and my mom, I feel like we grew up together. I say that all the time. I feel like we learned together. We grew together. So I never really looked at her as much as an example. I always say,
really?
Yeah, that's like my sis. That's my sister. Like, I don't know. It's weird. But I mean,
why do you value her perspective so much?
Because she worked so hard to mold me into this person that she sees me fit to be.
I don't know. Write that down, because that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, it goes as I value her. Well, not, I mean, honestly, not no more. But when I was growing up, it wasn't even fully, like I'm saying, it wasn't fully valuing just her opinion, but it was like she put so much into me and instilled so much confidence into me. And even when I was saying like I just thought I was better than everybody and everything like that, I felt like it was my job to be up to that standard, like, that she set me at. Yeah, like I know you are this and I know you are that, so it's like,
I think that's
damn,
fair.
I gotta be that.
Now I think that's definitely fair. In this aspect of the conversation, we will probably have to revisit in another episode. But I think that we should definitely talk about the perspective that parents have from a child's perspective of fear mongering, out of like the fear of not wanting their child to be like them, right? Because I've experienced that a lot, to the point where it's made my anxiety so bad. But I'm grown enough and wise enough now to realize and identify that my parents literally just wanted the best for me. Did they communicate that in a way that was efficient and effective at the time? No, but knowing what they knew then, it was literally coming from a place of love, but it was just not translated or transmitted well properly, at all.
And I think what you just said is so good, and I think that's what my mom was so focused on. And I actually know this because she tells me her main focus was to make me nothing like her. Like, she didn't want me to have a life like hers at all. She didn't want me to feel like, I guess, how she felt as a child. She wanted me to be the total opposite of who she was. So within that, it was like I said, it was very overbearing, and it went to the furthest extent. But I realized that it was definitely out of love. She just, like I said, we were growing together. She didn't know how, she knew how she was, and she knew that she didn't want that for her child. I don't know, this is a kind of a different conversation, but I recently had a conversation with my mom, actually. I never had a conversation like this with her before, but I was telling her how I feel like she, what's the word? She like disabled me a little bit in ways of, for example, you know, how we was talking about, I just started playing tennis. So I played tennis when I was younger. I did everything when I was younger, actually. I played probably every sport, every instrument. The moment I didn't want to do it, I quit. I stopped doing it. I didn't want to do it no more. And if I tell my mom I don't want to do it, okay, you don't got to do it. It don't got to be done. And in the moment, as a child, obviously I'm getting what I want. That feels like the best thing. But now, being so far in age and older, looking back, it's like, that was actually the worst thing ever.
Really?
That was the worst thing ever. Like, yes, I wish I would have stayed consistent with this or that.
You wish you would have provided that reinforcement that told you, like, okay,
like, you need to do this. For example, like, the only thing I did stay consistent with was cheerleading, right? I cheered, and I'm referring to, kind of like I said, me and my mom just had this conversation. I was telling her, like, the only thing I stayed consistent with was cheering, and she like, yeah, because Nana ain't let you quit. Because when I cheered, my mom was living in a different state. I was staying with my Nana. And when I first started cheering, I didn't like it. I wanted to quit. Like, I was tired. Workouts, burnouts, whatever. And my nana, like, you started, you not quitting, you not stopping. And that's why I stuck with it. But with my mom, if I tell her I don't want to do something, you don't got to do it. And having that conversation with her is when she responded like, well, I thought that was what was best. I was giving you the freedom. I just didn't want to be as strict and as badgering, because when I was a child, I had to do this. Like, I did everything I didn't want to do, and, you know, things of that sort. So she was just trying her best and to making me the opposite of what she was or what she endured.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's the beauty that you kind of grow to love, in a sense, as a child. You kind of establish this level of grace, right? For this identity and idea that you had of your parent as a child, versus like who accepting them for who they are, not as your mom, not as your dad, but like who human, this person, like like who this person is. And I think that that journey and that transition, the relationship that you grow with that person outside of the identity of just being your parent is like so beautiful to witness. And it's beautiful to witness, right? I think that it births so much, whether it be like forgiveness or shifted perspectives or just insight, you know? Because sometimes you don't really understand things when you don't have the full picture or the full narrative of what this person was thinking. So I think that that's really important, and something that I experienced.
Yeah, especially coming of age. Coming of age, I think about that all the time. I remember how old my mom was 20 when she had me. Destiny at 20 with a child, it's like, what? Yeah, no. I would have probably been in the club with my child on my chest. Like, I don't know.
You crazy. But going back to something that you mentioned like earlier on in the conversation was about being able to like identify like a negative presence of one, like coming from women in leadership. So how do you identify that, and like in what scenarios or instances have you been able to kind of?
Personally, I would just say you have to use discernment, because you would never truly know. And it's even harder today because you see most of these women in leadership or women in charge through a camera lens only, through social media, through your phone. And the other side of that is they show you exactly what they want to show you. You don't see it for really what it is or really who it is. And I feel like personally, becoming a woman in leadership and being an entrepreneur very young and being amongst these other women in leadership is like when I was really able to see the real. Like, just because I mean good and I'm genuine and I use morality when I speak to these young women or to whoever, doesn't mean you're doing the same, or like, you know, the next person is doing the same. And for me, I was only able to see that by being amongst these people.
So you've experienced that before?
Oh, for sure.
Like, in what type of setting?
Just being around people and seeing that these are not good people. Like, these are nasty people. It could be dinner settings, event settings, intimate settings, you know, anything of that sort. Even becoming cordial with these people, because I feel like a lot of it's an issue, but a lot of women in business or leadership of any sort, they try to cultivate together.
Like click up, right?
Click up, yeah, for sure. And within that is how I've been able to personally know a lot of people and, you know, be around different situations. But it's like just observing.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I've been able to, I can't really recall a moment when I've experienced that myself, like on a personal level, right?
Well, what do you mean as a personal level?
Like something that really affected me. Like I really came to the realization that I had this identity or this idea of that this person was this way, and then it came out that it was this way.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean personal.
I think that something else that really coincides with this perspective is the hidden agenda behind a lot of women in leadership that can literally turn a whole batch sour, right? So I think that just like right off the back, jealousy, like even if somebody is higher up in ranking or position, authority or title, whatever the case may be to you, I'm noticing that a lot of times they're, I don't know, not so nice, like the mean girl type
That's
of
what
thing.
I meant. Yep, the mean girls, jealousy.
Excuse me. Yeah, like the mean girl type of thing. And then also I'm coming to the realization that like people have hidden agendas.
Yeah.
Like you're saying you want to help me, you want to empower me, you want to uplift me, all of these great things, but a lot of times it's like at a rear end benefit of something to feed your ego. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that is something, even when we talk about woman empowerment and like that type of like realm that we're in, I want to say industry.
Yeah.
The industry that we're in is kind of like so many people throw their face up whenever they are hearing woman empowerment simply.
Because it has such a bad connotation at this point. I feel like people have had so many bad experiences. Even like you said, sometimes it's just to feed their ego, or sometimes entirely it's greed.
Yeah.
How much money can I make?
Literally.
Money.
Oh my gosh.
How much money can I make off these people? They pride on weakness.
Literally.
They pride on vulnerability. And that's, I feel like, a serious part. Like the lack of genuineness. Yeah. There's no genuineness at all.
And I think that for me, like as a woman in business, being transparent, I have recently had a very difficult time trying to identify like how to pivot and how to navigate, right? Because as a business owner, you provide a service based off of a need. You provide a product based off of a need, or it's like cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
Supply and demand. So with that being said, what is the thin line or the boundary that could be established in between that supplying the need and then also prying on those needs?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I feel like a huge part of that is false promising.
That's good.
Selling a dream. I feel like more people, and this is a conversation that we had a while ago when we was first, starting business and stuff together. It's like selling the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You are talking to these people that's in poverty, these people that has never experienced these certain things. So you're basically dangling a piece of gold in front of like somebody where it's like, just pay me $500 and I can show you how to get this as well.
But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie to you, those same poverty-stricken people that you're talking about, they jump faster for those people who dangle those things. Like whether it be I don't know, a higher credit score. I can get you a high credit score in 2 days, or I could get you 5,000. Like I could show you how to sell this and the third and get you here. And it's discouraging to those, for me, speaking from experience, who honestly want to teach you, cultivate you, show you the ins and the outs, give you the real, not just sell you the fluff.
The unfortunate part about that is that they're going to always come back to you.
That's true.
They're going to always come back to you that was genuine and that was really trying to give the real life from the beginning, because they're going to jump quick to basically they're like get rich quick schemes, or like, the super hustler ways where it's like, I feel like if I can get an 800 credit score in 2 weeks, why would I come to you that's telling me I got to wait 3 months? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even though that's not reality and they just told you whatever.
Generation.
Yeah, they just told you whatever. But the unfortunate part is that you're going to have to waste your money. Hopefully it wasn't your last going that way before you can come to what's real.
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing as well. A lot of people need to get into the reality of real success doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we need to bring like patience, endurance, persistence. Like we need to bring those back, and those characteristics and traits back in our generation, because I feel like we missed that. Like even when I think about my entrepreneurship journey, like I was the only entrepreneur amongst my friends when I was growing up. Like that, I didn't even know was a word for what I was doing. Like hustling, maybe.
Literally.
Like I thought I was just hustling. I didn't know it was like being an entrepreneur, right? And when I think about like, even for myself, I feel myself falling victim to this as well, but just getting like becoming complacent or lazy in the sense of I don't have to work as hard, or I can make more money doing this, which to a certain extent is like, okay, working smarter, but where is that ambition? Like, that hustle, like that feeling of just feel like you gotta go get it. Like where did that go?
Away with social media. Because now if I could post now when I have nothing, and then I could post again when I'm rich,
Yeah, I feel that.
So, yeah.
I feel like within this conversation, we dived off into
so many different
aspects. We're going to have to like create another episode for each thing to really break down everything. This conversation was good overall, though. I'm excited.
Word of advice for a sister?
What is my word of advice? My word of advice will be just go get to it. Like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know if you told yourself you was going to do 10 reps and you only did 9, get to it. I don't know if you told yourself you was going to get to the gym or you was going to try this new thing or whatever the case may be, or you was going to show up to that networking event. Just get to it. Do what you got to do.
I like that.
Take care of your business.
My word of advice would have to be to not fall victim. Not fall victim to social media, not fall victim to this false reality that we've been shown that's in arm's reach. You got to stay present in reality, in the real world. Like when you are on the search for your next big thing or to make your dreams come true, get off social media. Get back on social media when you need to like market or sell it. But when you're looking for a way, I really want to say get off social media, because social media is not real life and it's only a highlight. It's only a snippet. So don't be on there looking for guidance in the exact steps to take, because you're not seeing everybody's steps on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good.
Yep. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode with Des and Sa.
That's inside. Bye.
Toodles. Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast, Let's Talk Sis, with Des and Sa.
Stay connected by following us on all of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget, use hashtag Dear Sister Let's Talk to find us.
Wait, before you go, head over to our website or our Instagram and join our interactive community for a daily dose of sisterhood, where like-minded women fellowship, encourage, and create a safe space amongst one another.
See you inside, sis.
Toodles.
Bye.